That brings us to Crowdfunding Corner for the week of March. What's it going to be? 2nd when this goes up. A couple days later than normal. But we're going to look at crowdfunding projects that end in like the next 2 weeks-ish. And I think there are 6 that I thought looked noteworthy and worth taking a peek at. So let's do just that. This first one is kind of a... what would you call this? A reprinting, and with some new expansion content and a big old box to hold it all, of a game that I've never played, but it came out, I think, in like 2016, called Star Trek Ascendancy, The Final Frontier. And it's a big 4X space game where you are exploring, exterminating, whatever the other 4 X's are in the 4 X's. I think it's like expand, explore, exterminate, something.
Exercise.
And exercise, that's right. And yeah, I haven't played this game. It's not really for me, but there's 3 new civilizations. This game's got a lot of buzz and quite a bit of support here on Gamefound. So I thought it was worth at least highlighting very quickly on this kind of rushed episode of Crowdfunding Corner. So check that one out, especially if you like Star Trek. I like something Star Trek. I really like the Borg. That first contact movie.
I enjoy Star Trek. I don't know too much about it in depth, but from what I've consumed, I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, I agree. That one is on Gamefound until the 6th. So that is Wednesday or Thursday, I think. Probably Thursday. All right, next up is kind of it's not a trilogy, but a group of 3 games from InsideUp Games. And they've released some games in the past few years that people have really loved, especially one called Earth. I think it's on the shelf right behind me. And this is 3 different games in kind of a similar kind of aesthetic vibe here. They're calling it the Twisted Realms kind of world that each of these games is set in. And so they play differently, but they kind of have a similar vibe. The first one is called Crits and Tricks. And in this game, you are playing a trick-taking game, but you're also rolling dice and like assigning those dice to characters in what kind of looks like Dungeons and Dragons type like characters that you'll assign dice to. You also have a player aid, you're keeping things behind. You can recruit mercenaries and that kind of thing, get money, and let's see, it says form your party. The different suits are kind of important on the trick-taking side in order to determine who like wins each hand. And just kind of looks like a really unique version of a game like that. Second one is called Thieves of Eldris. And in this one, you are trying to hide from the other players. I think it has hidden movement. And you're kind of moving your characters around this grid of cards, trying to steal from other characters and stay hidden from the other players as long as you can. I like hidden movement. It's kind of fun. We played Kelp recently, Devin, where the octopus is trying to hide from the shark, and that is a pretty fun mechanism if it's done in a good way. So kind of generic, generic's not the right word, but kind of well-known kind of fantasy vibe to all of these games. But the last one's called Tug of War, and it is a lane battler, which is a genre I quite like. 2-player game. One player plays as kind of this werewolf clan, the other player as this elk clan. They have names that I cannot remember. The Elkir and the Lycaran. So there you go. And yeah, like I mentioned, it's a lane battler, and if you like win, then you're moving up on these different like locations. There's a location board that's a neoprene map, but then there's also like a smaller version if you want to play on the go. That's just 5 cards you can set next to each other. I didn't explain those games in great detail, but if you want to check those out, there are 3 different, mostly card-based games. Kind of takes on hidden movement, trick taking, and lane battling in this kind of shared universe. So that is the Twisted Realms kind of, not trilogy, but group of games from InsideUp Games. The Kickstarter ends on that one on Friday, March 7th. Next up is StarDriven Gateway. Okay, in this game, you're trying to score the most points by doing 3 main things here on your turn. You can assign a crew member to a station, activate a station, and you'll be using dice in order to activate them. And the strength that you can activate those abilities at is based on the value of the die you assign. Or you can rest. I think if you've spent a certain number of your dice, then you can re-roll. And then you can do some like free bonus actions as well. It's kind of a combo, kind of dice rolling game there. I like the sci-fi kind of vibe. Looks like it's not too complex either, but kind of has a cool vibe. Sorry, I kind of had a coughing fit there. But I like the way the board looks as well. You can explore these different tiles as you're moving around, sending your crew out and rolling dice and just having a good time. Lots of sci-fi games this week. Kind of, there's Star Trek, this one.
I'm a fan of the genre.
I am as well. So, anyways, that was just a quick kind of really high level. Not even like look at, just a high level. Here's the name of StarDriven Gateway. It's on Kickstarter until March 8th. Okay, next up is a 2-player game called Siberian Manhunt, where 1 player plays as, what's it say, a U-2 pilot behind enemy lines, and the other player plays as the KGB trying to, like, find them. So there's hidden movement in this one as well. It's kind of a long game, 90 minutes, for ages 14 plus. But again, having just played Kelp, coming back to the hidden movement game that we've played recently, I think that's a cool idea. This one is a bit more story focused, where like if you are in the forest as the player that's hiding, then you have to like flip over a card from the event deck, I believe, and something might happen. Like you run into the injured miner. Do you help him or rob him? Motorist, do you accept her offer for a ride or unalive her for her vehicle, you know? So you have to make some decisions as well. They're calling it a cat and mouse system where, you know, you're trying to find each other or hide, etc. Kind of a unique theme as well. So that is Siberian Manhunt, also on Kickstarter until Tuesday, March 11th. Alrighty, next up is
over. Here we go.
Biomes of Nilgiris. I don't know if that is pronounced correctly, but this is a pretty medium to medium light game about moving your character around to these different areas on the board, researching, and there are a bunch of animal cards as well that you'll kind of be using in your research. And it just kind of looks simple and pretty pleasant. There are different missions that you can play as if you play multiple scenarios kind of back to back to remove invasive species, protect wildlife from poachers, and more. It says this game takes place in India, so that's probably why I didn't know exactly how to pronounce Nilgiris. But I like the kind of the vibe and you move around the different regions on the board, kind of gathering different pieces of research, and then you have to like it's not exactly rest, but you have to like take a research action and like take all of those tokens into like your knowledge board. Is like you studying, I think, is what the action is called. So kind of a unique thing there as well. That is Biomes of Nilgiris on Kickstarter until March 13th, Thursday. All right, and then I think last up is Fame and Fable, a game with very, very cool art, and you'll be fighting a bunch of monsters, trying to be the most kind of the warrior with the most fame by defeating these monsters, all by playing cards and kind of building what's it called? Not a troop, but a party of different kind of warriors. What's the word? Party members. I'm tired. I can tell I'm not saying words correctly right now.
I'm vibing.
Definitely vibing. Let's see. So you're gonna have a bunch of cards. You're gonna play them in front of you. You can recruit new allies. Use the traits on allies that you have played down, and combat monsters. There are monster cards that I think are strength from like 1 to 10, and legend cards are stronger ones from like 11 to 20. And the stronger the monster is, usually the more fame you'll get from defeating them. But if you don't defeat them, then one of your allies gets killed, and the monster goes back to the bottom of the deck. So you have kind of lost your chance to defeat them. There is a video at the top of this campaign that kind of shows the artwork in like a better way, and it is very pretty. I'm trying to find a good picture here. I mean, this kind of shows like the vibe as well. There's a few different versions that you can choose from. You've got the core pledge. It's 30 euros, and it comes with the base game. It has items and contract cards and monster cards, and the game board, and then and the meeples. Again, very cool looking art. And then the Legend Pledge comes with all of that, as well as fancier pieces, double layered boards, which is just kind of a must for David. I love double layered boards. And then it also comes with some art stuff, stickers, and art print. And then if you want to pay a $500 pledge, you can get your own custom card added to the game.
Wow. If you were to add your own custom card, what would you do?
That's a good question. What's your favorite kind of like fantasy character or hero?
I think that Cyclops is kind of cool.
Oh.
I think Medusa's kind of cool. That both of them have probably been overused a bit.
They're usually like villains. So if you
they could be on one of the monster cards.
Yeah, maybe. Or maybe you could break like the social norms. Make the Cyclops a good guy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's so progressive of you.
He's got one vision. And his vision is to be your best friend.
That's right. Yeah.
No, I don't know what I would do, but I think if you give me a day to think about it, I come up with some pretty cool character to be added in that game. Yeah. I think that's kind of fun. If you really, what a cool pledge. Like, it's expensive, but
yeah,
to have, I've always joked about, what if they made a character of me in Fortnite?
Yeah.
Like, imagine being so famous, they're like, we're going to make a character that looks like you. Like, it'd be so weird to play yourself in a massive game. And so this is kind of fun.
Yeah. I agree. I think it's really cool. That one's on Kickstarter until March 18th. And this was kind of our expedited quick run of crowdfunding corner this week. Real quick before we end, Devin, we're going to have a couple picks of the week. So what is your pick of the week for March 2nd, 2025?
Oh, man. I thought it was going to be StarDriven. It looked unique. It reminded me of that airplane pilot game that we played. You're like rolling dice, and then you put the dice in their slot, and it does an ability.
Rolling dice in the slot.
We're landing pad game, airplane game, flight plan,
Oh
flight risk.
yeah. Sky Team.
Sky Team, yeah, same
Yeah.
thing. It was gonna be StarDriven because of the sci-fi. It had a bear. There's bears and spaceships, and kind of looked cool and interesting.
Yeah, I agree.
But I think I have to choose Fame and Fable. I would just want to play this just for how it looks. The white party cards and the black monster cards. The game board looked freaking sweet too, and so I choose Fame and Fable.
Cool. Yeah, I agree. I think this one is my pick of the week as well. And just like you said, I think StarDriven would have been my other one.
Oh, really? I was spot on. Look at me go. I'm learning.
I think most of the games this week looked cool. I don't think the Star Trek one's for me, but for someone that it is for, it looks cool too. Yeah, we'll just give a double recommendation this week to Fame and Fable. I really like the artwork. It reminds me of like a Grindstone is like a really cool game that I really love on my iPad. I also have it on the PlayStation, and the art kind of reminds me of that. It's just like really clean art where like every line is like kind of complete. I don't even know how to explain that, but I don't know, reminds me of that, or like Night in the Woods is another like a video game that just the art style kind of reminds me of. And so I like how it looks visually. And I'm not usually into like a game where you're just like smacking monsters so much, but this one's more of like a card driven, like trying to make combos with like your party members and play your cards in an efficient way in order to defeat them and get fame points. So it's more of like a point scoring game than just, hey, I did more damage than you to a dragon.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, yeah, I think that one does look really cool. So that's Fame and Fable, the pick of the week for I've said this date like 4 times in this video for some reason, but for March 2nd, 2025. And that's going to do it for Crowdfunding Corner for March 2nd, 2025.
Wow.
And we'll see you next week for episode 49 of Crowdfunding Corner. Thank you so much for watching this video. As most of you know, gaming top-down is an independent endeavor. I don't accept money from publishers for previews or opinion-related content, but there are a few ways that you can support the channel and help me keep the lights on. Liking this video and subscribing to the channel helps me to grow. If you're thinking of getting a game that I covered in this video, please click the affiliate link in the description of this video. It helps to support me and doesn't add any cost to your purchase. I also do a weekly gaming podcast where I talk about the board games that I'm playing along with my brother. You can check that out on Apple's podcasts and on Spotify. And you can also get that podcast 3 days early over on our Patreon. You can follow the Patreon at patreon.com/supergamebrothers completely for free. But if you do support us over there, you get some extra perks like being able to write into the show, getting early access to the show, voting on the games that I'm going to cover and review, and lots of other fun stuff. Thanks so much for your support, for liking and commenting on my videos. You really are what helped keep the lights on for me. Thank you.